Hey BookTube. I was watching BookTube the other day and saw a video that I think it was Mayana. I'll have to look and then I'll put it in the cards above. But she did something that she called speed dating with a book. And I thought it was a really cool idea. What she did was she had 3 books that she was thinking about reading, and she spent 30 minutes reading each one with a video in between to tell us what she was thinking about it. It sounded like a super cool idea. So I'm going to take that idea and kind of change it around a little bit. I'm just going to read the first chapter of each book to decide which book I want to read next. So the end of the month always feels like it's a big deal. It's really not that big a deal, but you know, it's kind of a big deal to me. Like, what's going to be my last book of the month? So I usually put a little bit more thought into which book I'll read at the very end of the month and which book I'll read at the very beginning of the month, because it kind of feels special that it would be the one that either ends or kicks off a whole month of reading. So the 3 books that I'm thinking about, one is Hood by Emma Donoghue. So I read Room by her. The reason why this is on my TBR for this month is because it's one of the books for book club, but we're not meeting for book club, I think, for a few weeks. So I've got lots of time before I have to read this, but maybe I'll read it now. It depends on what I think of the first chapter. The other 2 books I found in a Barnes & Noble bag at the bottom of a bag when I was cleaning out last week. How long have they been there? I don't know. Why did I pick them up? I have no idea, but I have them, so maybe I want to read them. The first one is The Only Woman in the Room by Benedict, or Marie Benedict, which is actually the name on the cover. It looks like it was one of Barnes & Noble's book club picks whenever I picked it up. And look, I got an additional 30% off because I am a B&N member. So maybe I'll read that one. And then the third one is The Witch of Willow Hall by Hester Fox. So that was in the box as well. I'm pretty much a sucker for any book that looks like this and has the word witch in the title. And also the author's name is Hester, which is a witch name in my opinion. Anyway, I'll start with this one. I'll read chapter 1 and then I'll come back and tell you guys what I think. Okay, I'm back so soon. The sun has hardly even moved since I was just here. I just read the first chapter of The Witch of Willow Hall, and it's only a few pages. It only goes to page 13, and of course there were pages that were front matter and all of that. So the idea, I can read the first part to you. 2 centuries after the Salem witch trials, there's still one witch left in Massachusetts, but she doesn't even know it. Chapter 1 is from the point of view of a little girl, Lydia, who is recalling something that happened when she was young, when her powers were first revealed, and then she's told by her mom to never talk about it again. So it's not really an explicit chapter. We don't have a lot of background going on for what's happening. We just know that they live sort of on a farm, that Lydia has a couple of siblings, that she was pretty lonely and had a kitty, and that there was a boy that somehow got hurt while she was really angry with him about the kitty situation. So that is this first book. So I'm going to read the first chapter now of The Only Woman in the Room by Marie Benedict, and I'll be right back. Okay, another super short chapter. Chapter 1, The Only Woman in the Room by Marie Benedict. So let me read the little interesting bit here. She possessed a stunning beauty. This almost certainly saved her from the rising Nazi party and led to marriage with an Austrian arms dealer. So that sounds pretty intriguing. The first chapter is, we don't even have the main character's first name. Oh, yes, we do. Hetty is her name. She's an actress who is taking her curtain bow at the end of a stage play. And she is presented with dozens of hothouse red roses that must have cost a fortune. She knows that she's getting disapproving looks from her castmates. And it sounds like she's kind of new to stage acting. and is a little bit worried about how they're going to take all the attention that she's getting with being presented with these roses as she's taking her bow. So that sounds also really interesting. I've never read any Marie Benedict before, and my guess is I picked it up because I had this intention last year of participating in the Barnes & Noble book club, but then I never got a chance to. So it sounds interesting so far. So the third book I'm going to read the first chapter of is Hood by Emma Donoghue. And I'll be right back. And I'm back. So I did not read the entirety of chapter 1 because it's actually about 30 pages long. So I read the first 2 sections where there was a break in chapter 1, and there's not a whole lot of action happening yet. It's really a look back from the main character's point of view. So I also read the back again to kind of have some context for what I was reading. And basically, there are 2 women who live in a convent school who fall in love. And the story is about their time together and then what happens when one of them dies and the other one has to kind of come to terms with the death, but also she was never out as a lesbian. So I'm glad that we picked it for our book club, and I'm looking forward to it, but it doesn't feel like what I want to read right now. So that leaves me with The Only Woman in the Room and The Witch of Willow Hall. Having read it just now, I'm really kind of interested, as someone who's interested in theater and acting and sort of all of that kind of stuff. This one definitely sounds really interesting because it has something to do with Nazis. That sounds pretty interesting. Too, let's see, she had an idea that might help the country fight the Nazis if anyone would listen to her. Could the world handle both her beauty and her stunning mind? Whoo, what? That sounds amazing. So, and then this one is about somebody coming into powers as a witch in Massachusetts, which, I mean, what is not amazing about that? Obviously, I'm interested in reading that. It's also pretty clear to me that I will probably read all 3 of them eventually. So I think I am going to start with the witch book. Because look at this cover. Like, I can definitely see why I picked it. A map. Every book should have a map. And then, depending on whether something else catches my eye, I'll probably move to The Only Woman in the Room. So if you, oh, you couldn't even see that. If you have read any of these 3 books already, feel free to drop a comment. Or if you think tell me what you think about this idea of like reading a chapter and then talking about it and like coming to some decision about what to read next. I'm going to go have some coffee and start a book. See you later.